就是打那个啊我跟你讲，因为嘉玲可能会去运动机会很高，因为嘉玲跟我都常常会在运动的时候碰到的啊。
All right. Are you able to see my screen again? I think it's Teams is acting up a little bit. Not really. No. Okay. Here we go. Now it should be working. Brilliant. All right. Great. So the agenda for today is that we're going to first talk about why formative assessments, then 5 essential rules to get formative assessments right, how to use Mentimeter for formative assessments. I will also share a couple of examples from other educators so that you can get best practices from other people that are successfully using Mentimeter, and then we will have a Q&A and wrap up. So my first real question to you, and I'm going to add the QR code again. So if someone hasn't joined the Menti yet, you will be able to do that either via the code at the top of my screen or through the QR code. So how comfortable are you with applying formative assessments at the moment? We have 3 different statements here. So I know why I should apply them, I know how to make them successful, and I know how to use Mentimeter for formative assessments. All right. We have quite some variety here. So we have for the first one, the average is 3.7, pretty high. But we also have some people all the way here. For I know how to make them successful, I would say we're pretty spread out. Some people all the way at the bottom of the scale, some at the top, and a lot of people in between. And knowing how to use Mentimeter for those, we are maybe a little bit towards the lower end there. So I will definitely help you get through that aspect in today's session as well. Thanks everyone for sharing that. Great. So then why use formative assessments to improve the teaching and learning environment? So first of all, I wanted to just make it very clear that formative assessments are something that we use to inform learning, to really help us understand what we should be focusing on, whereas summative assessments are then the ones that you really use to sum up what has been learned and to compare those learning outcomes. But the first benefit of formative assessments is that you really get feedback when it really matters. So both the students and the instructors receive immediate feedback on the learning progress so that you can make adjustments when you still can. So as opposed to just waiting for the final exam, you can on the spot understand where the students are at. And it also makes the pressure lower in those sessions. So students typically won't experience as much pressure when doing a formative assessment as compared to if they were taking an actual exam or an assessment. And typically, it's also easier for you to get more engagement. So when you regularly assess students' learning and actively involve them in the sessions, it really helps you keep track of the learning progress and encourage the students to continuously review their knowledge, understanding, and share their thoughts. And yeah, really teaching without formative assessments is like painting with your eyes closed. This is a quote that I really, really like. So if you don't do any formative assessments, it's really hard for you to know how it is going with the learning. But with formative assessments, you can really understand where you are so that you can then continue painting your picture and hopefully end up with a beautiful one at the end. So a question to you, how do you currently assess student understanding during your sessions? And here I have used an open-ended question in Mentimeter. And with open-ended questions, I am able to enable you to type your answer, whatever it is that you want to share. All right, we have asking questions. And I guess this can be done through multiple different ways. So you can, of course, ask questions out loud or use a tool like Mentimeter. So a couple of different ways. Yeah, ask a question, Q&A, Slido, Kahoot, a lot of different options for how to do that. Reflections as well. Voting, ranking Q&A. Q&A. Yeah, I love this. The only thing is that with Q&A, sometimes you might not uncover all of the concerns or questions that people might have because not everyone always asks a question. Great. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to wait a little bit longer if someone is still typing their answer here. All right. But then 5 essential rules to get formative assessments right. So how can we really make sure that we are doing the best possible formative assessments? So rule one, find a way to know what your students are thinking. So what I would really recommend you to think about is, are you getting honest answers from the students, and do the answers represent the entire room? So that's kind of what I meant with the Q&A as well. So sometimes you might get a question from one student, but you might not know if that's what everyone feels about the topic, or if that's everyone's knowledge level, or maybe that is just representative of that one student. And one way to really reduce groupthink in Mentimeter is hiding the responses. So we have a keyboard shortcut H to hide and show responses. And here I also have an example of that. So what is one word that comes to mind when you think of student engagement? And you can see that we have this question up here on my screen, but I have actually hidden the responses. So this means that you won't be able to see other participants' answers before you've submitted yours. And as the presenter, I can still see how many people have responded, and then I know when it is time for me to show the responses. So let's give you some time here. You can really submit anything that you think. Doesn't need to be so thought through. The first thought that you have is completely fine. Great. So now you can see that while this is a word cloud, all of the responses are actually blurred out, so you won't be able to see them. And then here on the right side, I can still see how many people have answered and how many I'm still waiting waiting to submit an answer. So we have 9 out of 29 people. And yeah, I think I can go ahead and show you that this is what it would then look like when I show the responses. So we have response, eye contact, interaction, smile, interest, boring question. Love it. Yeah, great. So a really simple way to understand what different opinions you have in the room. Then the second rule that I wanted to share with you is asking about the key concepts and making it really concise and clear. So a couple of tips for you to think about is the question that I asked too broad? So is it simple for my students to answer? And then also, can I easily understand what percentage of my class understands this topic? So one way to do that would be, for example, using a multiple choice question. And here is also an example of that. So my question to you now is, which of the following is not one of the benefits of formative assessments? Is it less pressure, feedback when it matters, replaces the need for final exams, or more engagement? Okay, we have a couple of different options here or answers from you. Okay, so the majority of you think that it is replaces the need for financial final exams. Then we also have some people saying less pressure. But indeed, I have now added a correct answer. So it does not replace the need for final exams. It's just a complementary tool to make sure that your students are in the best possible situation when it comes to the final exams. Great. And here I have used our multiple choice question. So this one makes it really easy for me to understand what percentage of my participants answered this. The third rule is really finding the right frequency. And the questions that you can think about is, does the frequency make sense considering the learning objectives that you have for that session? And then does the frequency help my students in their learning journey? And if you're short on time, we do also have AI features that you can use to very simply create questions. And here's again an example of how you can do this. So according to neuroscience, what is the average attention span in minutes? And I've added options from 1 to 30. And this here is our guess the number question type, which allows you to add a scale, and then your participants can add their answer on that scale. Okay, we have quite some variety here. Some people up towards maybe 20, some people pretty low on the scale, some around 10 minutes. And then here I can also add a correct answer, and that is 15. But then I can also add an error margin if I want to. So now I've actually accepted answers between 10 and 20 because that's still the span that it can vary between. Great. Then my fourth rule for formative assessments would be to have a follow-up. So think about, do you have the time and space in your class to explain a concept again, go back to what you have already told the students, talked about, and then also giving the students the possibility to go back to concepts at their own pace. So if they need a refresher on a specific topic, having that option for them to do it. And one thing that you can use in Mentimeter is the survey mode to really go back to any of the examples and ask the students to, for example, before a class, answer a couple of questions. So then you can easily see what it is that students are struggling with and what you might need to repeat in that class. And then the fifth rule is creating a culture where mistakes are okay. And I think this is really the most important one. So really allowing your students to feel that they are able to make mistakes and that's not a big deal and that's not a problem and it's okay to make mistakes. So some questions that you can think about then is, are you assuring your students that they won't get graded on this? So sometimes in a formative assessment, you would, for example, do some sort of knowledge checks, and then giving your students the feeling that it's okay if I make a mistake here, then I just know what I need to learn more about. It's not that I'm getting assessed here or that this is a scary thing that I need to get correct. And then also really recommend doing formative assessments anonymously, since this allows for you to really help students share what they really think is the correct answer, what concerns they have, what questions they have. Especially if you're able to ask questions anonymously, it's much easier for you to admit what you might not know. Whereas if you have to raise your hand and ask a question out loud, it's a lot scarier to do that, and not everyone will be willing to do that. And Mentimeter as a tool is anonymous by default. By using just the default settings, your students will have the opportunity to ask questions anonymously, answer without the fear of being judged for example, getting something incorrect. Nice. So just wanted to check in with you right now. So how would you rank the rules in order of importance? So the 5 rules we have here is find a way to know what students are thinking, ask about the key concept, find the right frequency, have a follow-up, and create a culture where mistakes are okay. And this right here is Mentimeter's ranking question, which allows you to put these topics in your order of preference or priority. So let's see what you think. Okay, right now we have find a way to know what students are thinking, highest up. Then we also have ask about the key concept, the second one. Third one, create a culture where mistakes are okay, find the right frequency, and then have a follow-up. I really like this order that you've created here. I think it's really difficult for you as an educator to understand what it is that students are thinking, and formative assessments really is an easy way to do that and uncover what biases there might be and so on. Key concepts, of course, important for you to know where we are at. And I also personally really think that especially in when it is language learning or learning about topics in a language that is not your mother tongue, it can be difficult for people to feel safe and feel that they're allowed to make mistakes. So that's why this one is really, really an important one. Great. Then how to use Mentimeter for formative assessments. Obviously, we have already looked at a couple of examples, but I wanted to show you ideas from other universities around how they have been using Mentimeter. So here we have a knowledge check question. And the question you can see here is, what kind of organism, if any, would match to the pie chart A, showing proportion of gene origin in the nuclear genome? Obviously, I am not an expert in this area, so I wouldn't really know that. But here, one thing that I wanted to show you is that you can always then add, for example, any pictures or graphs that you want to add into the slide or on the slide, and then you can add your knowledge check question here. And this one is just using a word cloud question. So then you can really easily see what kind of answers the students are posting. Do they make sense? Do they apply in this situation? And then you can also then have a conversation in the group. So for example, now if this was a topic that I knew a lot about, I could then go through all of these different answers and discuss with the class. Is this one correct? And if so, why? Why is it correct? Or why is one of these incorrect? How could we have come to that conclusion? So that can really help the others learn as well. So not only the person that submits the answer will learn, but everyone else would learn about the reasoning as well. And here is also another example from another customer. And this is a business course. And the question that they have asked is, what is the difference between financial accounting and managerial accounting? And you can see that here they have used open-ended questions because they really wanted to allow the students to share their own perspectives and really talk about why they think that a certain answer would be correct and what their reasoning for that was. And here the same thing, if you were to ask a question like this, you could then very easily also facilitate that conversation in the group and really allow everyone to share what their perspectives are and why they think that a certain answer was correct versus incorrect, or what kind of reasoning people used. And then here we also have a multiple choice example. So here the question is, you are the nurse assessing a client who is dehydrated for fluid volume deficit. Which of the following findings should you expect? And then you can see that they've added 4 different options where one of them is actually correct, whereas the other ones are not. So this is a really simple way for that educator to see that, okay, we only had 7 students who got this one correct, whereas the other students did not get this correct. So then also walking them through why this one, for example, is not correct and why this one is correct, why the other ones are not correct. So really tackling all those misconceptions that you might have in the class. And here also another example, and this one is, how much risk should an entrepreneur be willing to take? So here again, a scale, so extremely risk averse to take as many risks as possible. And then you could also have a conversation around this and understand why people are saying a certain answer. Here we can see, for example, that the distribution is quite unique here. So we can see that there are a lot of people that say that an entrepreneur should take as many risks as possible. And then around here, not a lot of people have answered this part of the scale, whereas then some are saying that the entrepreneur should not take too many risks. So then really hearing people's reasoning for these answers would be very valuable in this situation as well. And then here also another example of a scales question. So this one really checking the students' feeling around how they are progressing. So how do you feel you are progressing towards the module learning outcomes? And then you can see that the educator here has added all of the learning outcomes that the students are supposed to reach in this course. So they're pretty long, but you can see that these are the learning outcomes. And then the students have assessed their current learning in those areas. And then what you can actually do with this question is that you can then also track changes over time. So then if you really want to see if your students are getting closer towards reaching those learning outcomes, you can very easily track that through this question. Here we go. All right, I'm just letting some people in since we have some people in the lobby as well. Great. But now I would actually love to hear if you have any questions for me. This can be either about the formative assessments or any questions about Mentimeter in general. I'm happy to take any questions that you might have. Really, one thing that I realized is that I have enabled moderation for the questions here, which is not really needed for today's session. So I'm gonna turn that off so you don't need to, uh, yeah, wait for me to approve your questions. Here we go. Great question. Here we have a question. Can it be used to check attendance? Yes, it can. A couple of ways that you can do about that or do this. Either there is a way for you to just add a question for people to submit their either name, student ID, whatever it is that you would need. And then that would be gathered when the students are participating here. Other than that, we do also support participant authentication. So using that option, your students would then be able to log in and then that would automatically be tracked. Great question. Are we able to download students' responses? Yes, and I'm happy to actually show you how. So I'm just going to go ahead and press escape. And this is the edit view of Mentimeter. And then you can see that we have this results page here. So after a session, I will get access to the results page where I can go through all of the responses. And I can also still, for example, compare the different questions and do any kind of analysis that I would want to. And then here at the bottom, we also have the download option. So then I can download the results either as an Excel spreadsheet or the PDF version. If I would, for example, say that I want to report my students' answers somewhere, I can also just choose which slides and then export that as a PDF. Great. All right, let's go back here. Um, what is the difference between sliding? Sorry, this one, I'm not fully sure if I understand the question. So if you would be able to resubmit this question with a bit more clarifications, I'm happy to answer. How to insert it in PowerPoint? Great question as well. So we have an add-in for PowerPoint. You would simply just go to the add-ins section in PowerPoint and then add the Mentimeter add-in, and then you would be able to just log in and pick what Mentimeter questions you would want to add in that presentation. Otherwise, we do also have the option to import PowerPoint slides into Mentimeter. So you can pick which way you would want to work with PowerPoint. Great. Can the number of responses from each student be limited? Yes, it can. So as the presenter, when I'm setting up this presentation, I can also choose for specific questions if I want to allow my students to submit as many responses as they would like, or if, for example, they can only submit one response. So as the presenter, I can really just pick which works best for me. Can we track students' responses across different Menti sessions to see their progress? That is a fantastic question. Yeah, absolutely. So throughout a Mentimeter presentation, if if you run it fully anonymously, you would just be able to see in that session that voter one said this, this, and this throughout that class. But then if you do ask the students to, for example, submit their student ID, and then you ask the questions, and then you have that in each of the lessons, for example, for you to gather attendance, then you would also be able to compare how the students have improved through, or how a specific student has improved over time. But then other than that, if you just want to track all of the students as a whole, it's very easy. You could use, for example, the scales question type, and then see how well the students have improved, or yeah, how the scores have changed on the scale. And for that specific scales question type, we also have a built-in feature to track changes over time if you would want to use that. Great. Is ChatGPT able to automatically fill in information such as test question and answers? Yeah, so we have an integration. It's called AI Menti Builder, which is built on ChatGPT. So it's a custom app on ChatGPT. And then with that one, you can automatically create Menti sessions and questions. So you can just type your prompt, say that I would want to create a formative assessment for a lecture about X, Y, and Z, and then it would create that for you automatically. Great. All right. So those were all the questions that we had for now. The Q&A is still open, so you can still submit questions. But I wanted to do a bit of a follow-up question here. So right now we're getting towards the end of the session. So how comfortable are you with applying formative assessments now? So we asked this question at the beginning of the session as well. Let's see if we have improved. And this is, of course, a way that you can also track students' learning in your sessions. So if you want to ask them a question like this at the beginning and then go back to it at the end, this is a very simple way to do that. Okay, I would say that overall this looks very promising and very, very lovely to see. We have very, very high scores across all of them. So we have 4.4 for I know why I should apply them, 4.2 for I know how to make them successful, and 4.2 for I know how to use Mentimeter for formative assessments as well. That is fantastic to see, especially the last one, because at the beginning of this session, we were around 2 point something, and now we're much higher on the scale, almost at the end of the scale, upper end of the scale. So really, really lovely to see that you have learned something in today's session as well. And we now have a couple of more questions, so let me go ahead and just check those out as well. Can statistics of the responses be automatically calculated at the end of each session? Yeah, that's actually a really great question as well. So yes, there are a couple of different ways. Let me again actually go to the edit view so we can go back to the results here. So here you can see that we have some different kind of statistics here on the results page. So first of all, here on the right side, you can see the overall participation. So if that's something that you want to measure, this is how you can see how engaged your participants were. You can also see how many questions they submitted. And then you can also see the participation for each of the questions that you had in your presentation. So this way you can really easily see when your participants were most engaged and when they maybe zoned out and so on. And then if you have any quizzes in your presentation, you would also see the average quiz score, and then also what the number of or the percentage of correct answers here for each of the questions. And then here you can see that when I scroll through the different questions here, so for example, for this question, which was a knowledge check question, I can very easily go back to the statistics. So you can go through all of the statistics here. And then, like I mentioned, through the download button, you can also then get the raw data if you want to analyze that. Great questions. I love that you have so many questions in today's session as well. It makes it a lot of fun for all of us. Let's see. So then the next question that I had here is after I insert a PowerPoint file to Mentimeter, how can I edit or modify the PowerPoint content within Mentimeter? So that's a good question. So when you do import a PowerPoint presentation, it does become a static file. So if you want to still edit it, then you should edit that slide in PowerPoint and then just import that again. Or alternatively, you can also use the PowerPoint add-in when you would then add Mentimeter questions in PowerPoint. Or finally, one thing that I have done, for example, in today's session, I can show you, let's go back to the edit view again. So you can see that under new slide, here we also have content slides available. So if you don't have your PowerPoint slides yet, or you just want to create your content from scratch, it's also possible for you to create those directly in Mentimeter, and then you would of course also be able to edit them in Mentimeter. So here, for example, you can see that today's session, I have created the questions here in Mentimeter, and then I can simply edit these as I wish directly in Mentimeter. So I hope that answers your question. Let's just then go over here and let me open the Q&A as well. Oh, okay. We have another question here. Can you use superscripts or subscripts in the questions, such as for writing molecular formulas? Yes. So I can maybe share a help article on that afterwards, but we do have some different formatting options for example, mathematical equations and so on. Great. All right. So then I also wanted to share some resources here that can help you going forward. So first of all, we have our online courses on Mentimeter Academy. So that's where you can take self-paced courses on both Mentimeter, but then also different kind of teaching best practices and so on. So we have, for example, one course for inclusive teaching methodologies, which can help you exchange ideas with other educators around the world as well regarding how to really include all of your students and make them feel heard. We also have one for neuroscience based learning, so really helping you use neuroscience to your own benefit in your sessions. And then we also have video tutorials on YouTube, some more customer stories that can give you some ideas, such as the ones that I shared earlier from other universities. Help articles you will find here. So this is also where you can search for any kind of feature or questions that you might have. So if you, for example, search for equations in the Help Center, you would immediately get a help article on how to do that. And then for support, you can also reach out to hello@mentimeter.com. And then finally here on this slide, I also have either this link or the QR code here for the feedback form on today's session. And in order to get your certificate of participation for this session, please go ahead and either scan this QR code to leave your feedback, or you can also use the feedback form link that I have here. So on your devices, you can click on the link here, or otherwise scan the QR code. I'm gonna leave it up for a little while, so everyone should have the chance to do that. perhaps we can also add the link in the chat to make it even easier for you. But in order to get your certificate of participation, just scan the QR code here. Great. So we have around 5 minutes left. So if you do have any final questions or anything that you would want me to show you again, feel free to submit that as a question. I'm happy to still show you something or walk you through another feature if you'd like. But otherwise, I would also love to hear what did you learn in today's session, or what will you do differently as a result of attending this session? Of course, if you have any spontaneous feedback on top of the feedback form, you can also submit that here. So this here is an open-ended question as well.
Hello, Emily.
Hello.
Can you answer the questions that from one of our teachers in the comment section?
Is it in the Teams or?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Teams.
Yeah, sorry, I can't see the Teams chat since I am sharing my screen. Would you be able to, or
Okay.
maybe, yeah,
Uh,
I can.
okay. Is ChatGPT able to automatically fill in information such as test question and answers?
Oh, great question. So at the moment, the ChatGPT can only be used to create new presentations. Of course, in the prompt, you could add, for example, any information about past questions or things like that. So that can be used. But we are also further developing that feature. So I believe that should be something that we're probably looking into going forward. Great question. Was there any
Thank you.
other questions there, or was that the only one? All right, great. We still have a couple of minutes if someone still wants to ask another question, or otherwise, if you want to share anything, any learnings that you got in today's session, or any feedback for me, please go ahead and do that. But if you don't have anything, I'm of course also happy to finish this session a couple of minutes early and give you some time back. So thank you everyone so much for joining today's session. It was really lovely to have all of you here and have you so engaged asking a lot of questions. And I hope you learned a lot of valuable things today and will use some of these learnings going forward when you're doing formative assessments with your students. Great. Thanks, everyone, and have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you, Amelia.
Thank you.